I talk to way too many people, whether they're brand new SEs, experienced salespeople, or CROs even, that don't know the impact of a great SE, or maybe they know the impact of a great SE on a sales cycle, but they don't know how to actually implement and enable that SE to have that great impact. So I wanted to show what a sales cycle look like and how an SE can have impact. Hopefully that will guide you if you're interested, whether you're an SE, to figure out where you can inject yourself, or if you're a SE manager, CRO, how you can create a process so that the SE can get involved early. So this is going to be an editless video. It's just me sharing my computer. So we're going to switch to the whiteboard very soon, and I'm not sure how far along I can get into this, or I'm not sure how far along I can go into the sales cycle. So we'll see how much we cover in the next 15-20 minutes, and if I can't cover everything, then we'll create more videos to complete this series. It will become a series. So we all know, by the way, this topic came up in one of the office hours that I have for the SE hotline. They asked about the sales cycle and how they can have an impact. So I wanted to share with the group. And this, we all know that the sales cycle does not start without a lead. So we need to have a lead somewhere. Ooh, that's some big letters. Let's make it smaller. So we have comes in from a lead. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you know leads come from a couple of different sources, or many different sources. But you have marketing, you have SDRs or BDRs making cold calls or cold emails. So they have a list, right? And they can come from referrals. I've talked about this quite often. SEs can be part of like these two, the marketing and the referrals. And what that means is that you can be meeting one customer who can refer you to another customer, and now you just created a lead as an SE. A lot of people say, oh, it's not the SE's job to do that, but the great companies that know the value of an SE enable the SEs to do that. AWS, they have their SEs doing marketing. I mean, if you look at Trevor Spires, he works for AWS, and he creates a lot of content for AWS, which is amazing. Other companies, on the other hand, you're not allowed to post on your personal LinkedIn unless they approve it and it has proper corporate branding. I don't know if that's legal or not. You might want to look into that if that's happening to you. But that's you're basically, if you have a great SE, you just removed a lot of impact that they can have. So, but generally speaking, for this guy right here, who participates in it usually, like for marketing, it's obviously marketing people. The cold calls, you have SDRs, BDRs. You also have account executives or account managers who are prospecting, calling people up. Like, we're not always, an SDR or BDR can cover a certain amount of territories. Like, so one SDR can be covering all of the United States. It's probably a lot of work, but the point is, for me as an account manager who covers one territory, I'm sharing an SDR or an SDR resource, could be a team, with all of North America, maybe the world, I don't know. In my case, it's mostly North America. So they're not focused on my customers or my territory. They don't care if they get their number from my territory or somewhere else. They're just going to go for the easiest thing, which is human nature. I'm not blaming anybody here. So if I'm working in Ottawa, then it behooves me, I like to use that word because I don't know what it means, to actually go out and find my own leads so that I can prospect on my own. Otherwise, I'm dependent on somebody else to do that. Now, once the lead comes in, now the fighting begins internally. So we have qualification. Who's responsible for qualification? Again, you have the SDR. Let me change colors again. You have the SDR and you have the AE. But I believe that SEs need to be involved in this, solution engineers. Because from when you talk about qualification, we're talking about business qualification and you're talking about technical. It's not a discovery, it's a qualification. So business qualification, many people have heard about, let me change colors again, BANT. So BANT, which stands for budget, authority, need, and timeline, which, by the way, Damian Tomasino, he's an SE. He's active on LinkedIn. I'll leave a link for his LinkedIn in the description if you haven't seen it, if you haven't heard of him before. He hates that, right? Because when you go talk to a customer, they don't always want to give you this information in the qualification. But it's our job to try to get as much of it as possible. Mainly because if there is no budget, or maybe if they think the solution costs $5K where instead it actually costs $1 million, it's not like something they can budget for next year. The deal is dead in the water right there and then. And as SEs, I've seen SEs travel across the country to get to their destination for an unqualified deal. They show up, the meeting, they start talking, and they figure out, oh, this customer does not have money and will not have money. And it could be like, hey, I might not have money this quarter or this year, I might have money the next year. That's totally valid. And I'm not saying if they don't have money, just drop them like a hot potato. But if they don't have money, when will they have money? That's something to think about. Also, would you have the authority to buy something? I worked with one SEO, one field engineer. He was post sales. He supported my customers, and I was pre-sales. And he went and talked to this customer for days, even weeks or months, about a specific product that we have. And my account manager kept pushing him to do it. And I'm saying, well, one, it's pre-sales, it's my job. Two, this team never buys. So we're talking to an individual user who thinks the product is cool. You, Mr. Account Manager, should be setting up a call with the manager or director to see, yes, even though they think it's cool, will they ever have money to buy it? Or will they ever want to buy it? Will they have the authority to buy it? So he spent weeks doing that, and then we had one meeting with the manager, and he basically told us then and there that he does not have the authority to buy, and he would not be able to influence anyone to give him the budget to buy. So it was dropped right there. Now, other people, we're talking about BANT. Some people like to use Medic or MedPick. That's another. BANT is more of a terminology thing, where Medic or MedPick is an actual process, that you can buy a book about it. There's a website which I'll leave the link in the show notes. I never remember what these acronyms stand for, so I have the website open, which is medic.com. There's a two C's here, so meddicc.com, and medic stands for metrics, economic buyer, decision criteria. I'm not gonna write it. Decision process. Uh, well, if you had a med pick, it will be paper process as well. We don't, as sales engineers, we generally don't care about that. Implication, pain, so the pain, and champion and competition. Right? And again, when we're talking about qualification, we're not going to be able to figure all of this out. We have to figure as much as we can, and we figure the rest throughout. But then you have the technical qualification, which has nothing to do with this. And the technical qualification is basically what are some of the deal breakers that we need to think about before we actually continue this conversation. So, for example, and this is a weird example, you have Salesforce and HubSpot. These are two CRMs that are known to the world, so I'm going to use them as examples. If I'm selling a tool that only integrates with HubSpot, and I'm going to talk to the customer, and they're using Salesforce, then that's a difficult sell. Right? It doesn't mean the deal is dead, but now it just got harder. So we're adding more to the sales cycle. So when I say it's not dead, if our engineering team is not willing to do anything about it, it's not willing to integrate with Salesforce, and I can't come up with some form of like fix on my own, then the deal is dead. But if engineering is willing, if it's a big deal, like, hey, Mr. Customer, if you buy from us, or Mrs. Customer, if you buy from us this amount of dollars, we will implement this. We will integrate into Salesforce. Or a lot of engineers, a lot of SEs, solution engineers, are able to figure out ways to non-natively kind of integrate using APIs or whatever. Now you're adding more work for the SE to actually be able to sell. And a lot of SEs do it, and a lot of SEs are great at doing it. And we talk about how SEs don't need to code or don't need to be very deeply technical, but being deeply technical allows you to do stuff like that, where other SEs who are not deeply technical may lose the deal or may need to bring somebody else to come and help them. So that's what I mean by technical qualification. What are some of the blockers, some of the things that we don't support or will never support, will give us a better idea of how much work we need to do to actually win the deal? And there's that. And the biggest impact that I've seen SEs have on deals like this is, yes, we want to qualify the deal in so we can get it to the next part, which is changing colors again. Discovery. Okay. So, but we can also qualify it out to closed lost. And now the deal is closed, and now if you might want to start nurturing the relationship here. Whether it's an SE or sales. And this is usually like if it's an enterprise deal, okay? And you're going to have a relationship with the customer ongoing, or let's say today it's not a good fit, but tomorrow it might be a good fit, then okay, fine, this deal is closed, but doesn't mean the opportunities with this specific customer are done. It took me 3 years to break into one customer, and that's after several deals closed lost because we were not good fit, we were not a good fit, or the incumbent was just too incumbent, or they didn't have a reason to buy from us, and then all of a sudden it opened up and we ended up winning the deal. So you nurture relationships, which also leads to more leads. So how can you nurture, like why should an SE nurture relationships? Well, one, it's part of our job, especially enterprise SEs. Two, SEs are given access that salespeople are not given. If I reached out to a customer as an SE and say like, hey man, I'm gonna be in town. Do you have time for breakfast or coffee or whatever? Hey, can we catch up? It's easy. A salesperson does that. Now the customer's thought process is, what does this guy want from me? And then they don't do it. So there is that. Let me see my notes. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about today? Oh, another thing SEs can do here, because it's generally speaking, SEs don't want to be part of discovery, part of qualification, because SEs are busy, and if you're a pooled SE that just jumps into opportunities, then you're most likely going to be invited at the discovery, or even more likely to be invited for the demo, which that's a different story. That's where great SEs can't have an impact, because at that point it's too late, in my opinion. So what are the things that we need here when we're talking about the technical qualification? If I'm not invited to a call because I'm in a pool model, or I cover multiple salespeople, or I'm just too busy with the current qualified deals that I have, then it's in my best interest here to provide a questionnaire to my salesperson. Like, these are some of the common questions that I have for you. Right? These are some of the common questions that we ask our customers. Are they using Salesforce or HubSpot? Do they need native integration? There's a lot of things that we can ask. And if we find ourselves asking these same questions over and over to all our customers before we jump into any proper discovery, or these are the things that I need to know before we meet the customer, then I will create this questionnaire and send it to my salespeople. But sometimes what ends up happening is the salesperson goes to the qualification, they get out, and then they send us an invite to do the discovery, but they didn't ask any of these questions. So at that point, as an SE, I will send it back, like maybe not on a Salesforce stage or a HubSpot stage, whatever it is, but I will want to qualify my salesperson and ask them these questions. Ideally, the salesperson would have asked these questions ahead of time, but if they didn't, I'm going to come back and say, like, Mr. Salesperson, Miss Salesperson, what qualifications have you done with my customers? Like, you just invite me to a discovery. I have no information about it. Your notes suck, usually. What information can you give me? Do you know this? Do you know which CRM they're using? Do you know, I'm in networking, right? Do you know which protocols they want to use? Do you know which speeds and feeds they want to use? These are not questions I would ask the customer initially, mainly because I don't want to get into the features and functions. I want to talk about business. But if I'm talking to my salesperson, I'm going to ask those questions. If our product doesn't support a specific protocol, and that's the protocol they're looking for, then why are we going to continue the conversation at that point, unless we're willing to implement it? So what would happen then is I would go to, like, all right, let's say they want segment routing, or let's say they want to integrate with Salesforce and we don't have Salesforce. At this point, now I have to go down here and talk to PM, which stands for product managers. Some companies call them PLM, product line managers, and ask them, okay, we have a customer. This is looking to be like kind of a $1 million deal, or a $500,000 deal, or a 10K deal. Would you be able to integrate with Salesforce? Is that something you're interested in doing? And if they say no, and then I have to think about myself, like, can I even do this on my own? If no, then I have to tell the customer, hey, maybe you should be using some other software that we can integrate with. It's a tougher sell. But at least if yes, then all right, cool, let's do a discovery. If no, let's do a close loss, get it to that stage, close the sales cycle basically, and now start nurturing the relationship since we've met these customers. And hopefully one day we'll come back to a lead. So I've been talking for almost 20 minutes. I'm going to edit this and send it out today. So I'm going to stop here. Next time we meet, maybe I'll pick it off from the discovery and we go forward from there. So I mentioned the SE hotline. This conversation came from the SE hotline. So I want to thank everybody who asked that question and was interested in the conversation. It was a much longer conversation. It was like around 40 minutes, and we got to discovery because there was a lot of questions. If you're interested in that, check out the SE hotline link in the description. And if you want to see what a great SE looks like, check out this video on either side of me. Not sure which one. With that, get back to work.